Hello, everyone. Buongiorno. I'm Gianluca Misuraca, and I'm one of the members of the scientific committee of the International Forum on Digital and Democracy. And I'm here today with Vincenzo Aquaro, my good friend, and that is the chief on digital government of the United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs. So, Vincenzo, recently at the United Nations General Assembly, you presented the survey, the report with the survey 2022 on e-government. This is a reference, it's a flagship report, it's a reference worldwide on what is the status of e-government or digital government worldwide at the global level. And since 2002, it has been, let's say, weighted by everybody, policymakers, practitioners, researchers, to understand and analyze the evolution of the digital government, as we say. And so this is after 20 years, I had the pleasure to be involved with you and colleagues in the expert group meeting on e-government, exactly also to reflect on how eventually, say, modify and redesign and reconceptualize the framework of the analysis. But definitely this year is after the COVID. This is a very timely picture of the situation of the digital transformation worldwide. So, can you, let's say, provide us let's say, an overview of the main findings and key results?
Thank you Gianluca e buongiorno a tutti e grazie per avermi invitato in questa conferenza. As Gianluca said, recently we have been launched the 2022 e-government survey during the General Assembly at UN, and the title of the report is The Future of Digital Government, and it's very interesting because what we have analyzed based on the assessment that we do for 193 member states. So we cover all the United Nations member states on digital development, is that despite the also not only challenges but opportunities that came up with the COVID-19 pandemic, we saw two different megatrends. A group of leading countries and the countries that are more advanced on digital transformation, they were really taking advantage of this situation and the fact that they were almost ready to put almost all the services online. They really react more proactively, and they were able to cover as much as possible services to the citizens through the digitalization. On the other hand, we have half of the world that is still lagging behind. So the key maybe mega trend that we observe is that the trend is that we have two big groups, a groups of the most advanced and the group that are lagging behind. And this is somehow a very it's something that we would like not to see, because we are working in direction to bridging digital divide. But the new technologies, the new trends can also create a new barrier and create a new way of digital divide. So this is one key message. Still, all the countries are moving up, but not with the same speed, not with the same pace. So this is something that need to take attention to all the governments.
Grazie Vincenzo, thanks a lot. And yes, indeed, this polarization that we see is somehow also reflected, we know, on, let's say, on the political, sphere of our life. And in this conference in the International Forum on Digital and Democracy, clearly, the political aspects and how technology influence, let's say, society and policy, it's key. Having worked with institutions, and especially with you and DESA, knowing the survey, I know that you're not focusing on the political aspects of the governance frameworks, but on the other side, you have a sub-index of the famous EGDI, the e-government development index, that looks at e-participation. So maybe can you provide us some insights also on this?
Yes, thanks for this question, because it's more than the e-participation index. In this report, we have a chapter that is on leaving no one behind. It is about inclusion, because one of the key challenges now is really how there is not only a digital divide, but there is an issue of digital inclusion that need to be covered. So the chapter look at how governments need to work in order to provide services for all. As I said, there is a gap among countries, but even in the countries, there are big differences, and there are vulnerable areas, vulnerable groups that are really lagging behind. So this is worldwide. So no matter the level of the digital development, still there is a strong room for improvement on citizen engagement, citizen participation, and we measure through e-participation index. That is organized in three main components. The first one is about e-information. The second one is e-inclusions. But the most important one, but the most difficult one to assess is the e-decision making, because we can observe many countries that now have portals in which citizens can really express their opinion, make recommendations, request improvement changes and new services. But what is very difficult to measure is how much, what is the impact of this of the citizen engagement in these societies. How much government are really taking seriously in consideration the citizens, and how this reflect in decision making with concrete law, services, and so this is something that we are trying to measure as much as possible. There is a lot of room for improvement from the government. One key message on this is that while we are all fans of technologies, we and in Italy, as part of European Commission, there are very key principles on digital by design, digital first. But now it's also important to put inclusion by design. First, we have to look at the human aspect. That's why we are pushing, saying something that is not new, that the society is hybrid. So digital technology, digital transformation should be used as a public good to serve people. So again, have to be people-centered.
Well, thanks, Vincenzo. And as one of my hats is to be the lead of the InTouchAI.eu, the International Outreach for Human-Centric Artificial Intelligence. So this human-centric digital transformation is key and fundamental, of course, for the future of our society. And I mean, here in the conference, we have been discussing. We will discuss a lot about exactly the decision-making mechanism and how technology can help enhance this. Because as I always say, and I'm not the only one, of course, I mean, if we are talking about industry 4.0, society 5.0, also in Japan, for instance, definitely we cannot have a government that is almost analogic in many countries, 1.0 at most. So we really need to innovate. We need to be radical in the way we change, our public administration and our institution, redesigning them also in a co-evolutionary manner with the technology. And now, of course, we will also have this opens a lot of questions for the audience, for the scholars and researchers here, also for policymakers, because of course this is the key issue to be addressed not only here in Rome in this conference, but worldwide. So, before to conclude, in fact, and talking about the future, how can we be inspiring for the futures that we want? So the title, as you said before, of this report of the survey 2022 of the United Nations on e-government was the future of digital government. So how do you see what is your perspective about the future?
Well, it's not about my perspective, but we have another chapter. It's the last chapter, chapter 5, on the future of digital government. So I really encourage the one that have not had the opportunity to read the report. We are talking about 300 pages. There are a lot of data analysis. So I would suggest you to read it, because you will find some good insights and a good information. But thanks for this question, because indeed the new technologies, the cutting edge technologies are already projecting some countries in the future. What is very interesting to observe, and the assessment of 193 countries give this picture, that you have countries already in the future and countries that are still lacking in the past. So some concrete cases can give you the idea of what will be the future. I'm talking about cloud computing, that now many countries are moving. I not want to spend now time discussing commercial, hybrid. That's, we know, every government will look at what is the best solution for them. But indeed, that is one trend that is already in place in many countries, and in some cases also is the best solution when you are under crisis. There is a concrete case study in the report, what is going on in Ukraine, and thanks to the digital transformation that moved the digital government on clouding, they were able to move outside the countries all the data centers and all the assets of the government, and be able to support citizens while they were under conflict with Russia. So this is but then also the trend is about the seamless. It's seamless government, anticipatory government. Really, you have not to bother the citizen asking always the same questions, or asking the same information that are available at governmental level. No matter which level of government we are talking about, the responsibility of the government is really to use as much as possible all the information to anticipate some services that are part of the life of citizens. And so what we call invisible government. Why I need to check when my driving license is going to expire? You have to immediately send me the new one, because you know that when is and which kind of information you need. You can quickly get from your database, or at least you need to inform me in advance that I have to do a new medical test, and you have to book the medical test for me, and not that I am going to do so. This is just one example. So the direction is that, but I want again to raise the flag, the red flag, saying that new technology should include. So we talk about digital goods, so have to be for everyone. So when we develop this system, we need to look at all the variety of the societies and all the different vulnerable groups for this. But that is the trend that we cannot stop, and definitely the future will be much more better, and the life I hope will be easier for us as citizens.
Thanks, Vincenzo. This, of course, is the future. I mean, we want, of course, we also know there are challenges and risks, and but this will open another debate. So for the time being, I mean, I also want to congratulate again you and your team for the excellent work you've done with the survey report this year, and you have done in the previous year, and you will keep doing in the future. And although we all know that there are limitations in this kind of exercise, there is a richness and is a compendium of case studies, of experiences, as you say. So although everybody is looking at it like for the naming and shaming approach of the ranking, on the other side there is this knowledge exchange, the best practices, and that all the community development is really looking forward each time you publish this report. And so also for the audience, and we were recently at the ISEGO conference in Guimarães in Portugal, where we had the expert group meeting this year on e-government, and clearly there is now the opening of a new phase for the next edition of 2024, where we also are gathering insight, input, suggestion for improving the approach, the methodology, and how to better capture the multi-dimensional facet of this digital transformation. So thanks again, Vincenzo, and yes, as we said, I think the future is inspiring, and technology can definitely help us to move to a better future for all.
Thank you, Gianluca.